All right, so how was your life different as a child than it is for children today?
We lived a simple life. I grew up with a family that didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't have the toys and games and stuff that kids have now. We made up our own toys, and we played hopscotch and ring around the rosy and
Used your imagination a
Yeah.
lot more.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. How has family life changed from back when you were a child to now?
Well, my mother was a stay-at-home mother, and she was always there for me when I come home. But now it takes two families,
Yeah.
a mother and a father both, to provide for their children now, and so that's one of the biggest thing I think has changed.
Okay. How many years did you attend school?
I went to 12th grade.
Okay. And what subjects do you remember studying?
I loved arts. I loved home economics. We had gym, and we had English, and we had American history, world history, biology.
So basically everything we have now.
Yeah.
It's probably just taught differently.
Yeah.
Different curriculums. And
We had general math, and we also had algebra, but I never took algebra.
yeah.
And we had typing.
Okay. Which wars do you remember?
Remember the Korean War? Well, not really the Korean War, but my brother fought in it. But I do remember the Vietnam War. That was the most prevalent.
Okay, and what parts did you or your family play either at home or on the battlefield during the war?
We mean most parts.
No, what parts? Like, you said your brother fought in the war?
Yes, he was. My brother Daryl was a staff sergeant in Vietnam.
Okay, and what was home life like during that time?
Well, we missed him, and I mean, he wrote to us a lot, and a lot of the people were against the Vietnam War. And I also had a nephew that was in the Vietnam War too. And my brother was stationed at the DMZ zone, and so he saw quite a bit of battle.
Okay, do you remember what you were doing or your reaction to things like the Kennedy's assassination and like the man on the moon, stuff like that?
Well, I was in grade school when Kennedy got killed, and I rode a bus home, but the kids that walked to school, they got to leave earlier than those that rode a bus. And so this girl had went home, and she came back to the school and told us that Kennedy got killed, and I didn't believe it. And me and her got in a fight.
Oh, gracious.
And cause she said she was glad he was dead, and it made me mad because he was my favorite back then. I was small, but yet I knew about him. I liked him, and I remember handing out campaign buttons and really rooting for him to be president. For some reason, I really liked him.
Okay, so it had a major impact on
And
you.
I liked Ronald Reagan, and I liked Donald Trump. So
Okay.
they're my favorites.
Let's see. How has the role of women in the house, workplace, or community changed in your lifetime?
Well, like I said before, back when I was coming up, the mothers were at home. They were housewives. And now, like I said, it takes two, the mother and the father, to be both working. And
Right.
and a lot of fathers have to take over the mother's role, and a lot of mothers have to take over the father's role in
Right.
raising their family.
Right, and you have to add in the whole like divorce thing where either they live with the dad or the mom, and
Yeah,
then, like
yeah.
you said, they have to take over each other's
So it's
roles.
different. Back then, divorce wasn't as high as it is now, and I think that makes a big difference.
Okay. How has this community or the one that you grew up in changed since you were a child?
how it has changed. Well, you really can't be out walking in your community by
Yeah.
yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we were kids, I mean, we could play outside till dark. Nobody bothers. You didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about somebody kidnapping you, shooting you, or whatever.
A lot more violence in
Yes.
this day of age.
Yes.
And another thing that it's really small, it's probably not as important to other people, but to me it's like back then you could ride in the back of trucks and everything and
Oh,
nobody
yeah,
would
yeah,
have a problem
yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
But
too.
now-
Yeah, too. And back in the 60s and stuff, we didn't have seat belts. You know,
Yep.
you could ride in the back
Yep.
of the truck, and we could do all kinds of crazy things. Drink even one from the water hose.
So in your lifetime, what has been society's greatest challenge? Do you know?
I think just trying to adjust to how fast things are moving.
Yep, I can see that.
That's my challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
something is sprung on me new every day, and I have to learn.
Yeah, I can see that. So, you've already answered who was your favorite president, and you said it was Kennedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Why were they your favorite presidents?
Kennedy, he was against war. He didn't really want to fight. But after he was assassinated was when the Vietnam War started, and it was something that he was trying to avoid. And also Cuba was against us too. But I mean, Kennedy didn't want to fight, but he stood up. I mean, he didn't cower down to him.
Right,
You know.
right. He stood his ground.
Yeah, and Reagan, he was I think the man was a Christian, and he was trying to do what was right in my eyes.
Okay. And so in your lifetime, which political issues were most important to you?
I think the freedom of speech and be able to express yourself, and equal rights more or less, but yet to have people to do it legally and not like what they're doing now, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Come into America the way you're supposed to, not coming here to get, and
Right.
you
Right.
know.
I agree with that. And you add in like peace and stuff like that with
Yeah.
freedom, because when you add in freedom, there's gonna come back at it with violence,
Yes.
because people are gonna say you don't have this freedom. Yes, I do
I
have
mean,
this
my
freedom.
grandfather came from Germany. When he came over here, he got his citizenship, and he didn't try to change America to his customs.
Mhm.
He changed to our customs,
Right.
and that's not what they're doing now. They're wanting us to switch from what we're used to what they want.
Right.
You know, eat what they eat, do what they do, and that's not us.
Yeah. So going from that to technology, what kind of inventions have changed your life for the better?
Well, the computers opened up the world for me. I'm able to communicate with family far away, and
Right.
and you know, the telephone, and just the technology that we have now that we didn't have back then.
Right. So if you were talking about your brother would write you letters and stuff during the war,
Mm-hmm.
if you had technology back then, would you rather him still write you, or would you rather him, I don't know, like call you or something?
Ooh, that's a hardie.
Because
I
if
mean,
he
I
was to-
still have some of his letters.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Because if he writes you, then you can save them and read them over and over.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, technology is not very dependent because it can crash or whatever anymore.
Right. But I still think it would be pretty neat to talk to him, you
Yeah.
know, if he was over there,
Yeah.
just to see his face, you know.
Yeah. So how has it changed of people that do stuff for fun, like entertainment wise? How has that changed?
Well, kids now, they have the computer, they have their games and
Cell phones.
their cell phones, and they're stuck on that. They're sitting there. They're not really active.
Right.
I mean, like I told you earlier, we played hopscotch. We played Ring Around the Rosie. We played Red Rover,
I
and
remember that.
we had the hula hoop, and we danced. We danced to music, and we were really active. You know,
Yeah. Always outside doing
always
stuff.
doing something. Yeah, and I mean, we'd play outside till dark. I mean,
Yeah. So how has music changed over the years, and what styles or artists were your most beloved?
well, I was raised up on the rock music, the oldie goldies, and it's a lot different from.
Yeah, it's a lot different
Yeah, a
now.
lot different now. I can't hardly understand what the kids are saying now, and it seems like they just repeat the same word over and over and over again.
It's because you grew up with Elvis and all them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yep.
Elvis, yeah.
Okay, and so what kind of advice would you give to future generations?
Enjoy your time now, because I'm in my 60s. I'm getting old. I can't do what I used to do, and live life to the fullest, but also give your all in all to your family and to your Lord.
Right. And if you could live your life over, would you do anything differently?
Yeah, I think I think I would have gotten. I think I would have gotten saved earlier in life if I know what I know now.
Yeah.
And there'd be a lot of things I would not do now that I did back then.
Yeah. Yeah. But with saying that as well, I mean, from then to now, you've learned a lot of stuff from your mistakes. So would you still want to go back and unlearn those lessons?
I think the Lord has gave me those wrongs that I've done, so that maybe to show you or one of my other grandchildren, give them example, because that's how my mother done me. She told me of things that she done wrong to help me to not make the same mistake.
Right. Or to help you if you have made a mistake, what she learned. And okay. Well, thank you for your
welcome.
little bit of time
I loved
here.
it. I love doing it.
I know. I love hearing interesting stories about family.
Now, that's one thing too, is I wish I had my mom, my dad here, where I could learn about their family, because growing up I never asked questions like this.
Yeah.
And I wished I had it.
Wow. Well, thank you.
You
I really do appreciate it.